So, boss, here we are in your lovely back garden.
Sir,
Yeah,
it's
so
Easter.
it's Easter, and I'm happy that you want to discuss a topic that is important: money management.
Very important.
So perhaps we should start by introducing you. How did we get to know each other?
So I was just thinking the other day that it's been a good 25 years since we met, and we both worked at IBM at the time. As I was your inbound sales, and you were my outbound sales for a few major accounts. As I remember, ASML was one of them, and I think we shared a few more. Can't recall the other ones, but ASML was definitely one we worked on together. And yeah, we've always stayed in touch and developed a very good friendship.
Yeah, I still appreciate that. It was so I remember from back in the day that you also had a professional career as a basketball player in parallel.
Yep.
So, and I guess many people, especially when they're young, are struggling with what to prioritize and how to go about, especially making money. So, how did you deal with the income and the whole money management when you were doing actually two professions?
So it's very interesting, and when we discussed doing this, I thought it was interesting to talk about this because in basketball you see, as in life, I guess, you see two type of people.
Mm-hmm.
There's your typical professional that goes through all his money and can't even make the end of the month. And it doesn't matter if they make 5, 6, 7, 10,000 a month. They just spend it all. And you got guys that save their money, spend a little bit, but invest. Like make sure, because a basketball career is obviously not as long as your professional working career afterwards. Within a stretch of maybe 10 to 15 years, playing in Europe, you can make some good cash. You're not done after that, but there's enough money to set yourself up and have a good start to the rest of your life. So the people that are smart, they budgetize. So they give. I'll give an example. I had played with an American for 2 years, and he would wire all the money to his wife, and he would live off €1,000 a month. And the other, I think he was making about 8,000. So the other 7 would go straight to his wife at home, pay off the mortgage. So by the time he quit, after I think he did about 12 to 14 years of professional basketball, he went home, his house was paid off.
Yeah.
So then you come into a situation, because a lot of professional athletes, they always talk about the black hole that they drop into, and you're not quite sure what to do afterwards. So if you don't have to worry about your finances, then at least you buy yourself some time to make that next step in your career. And to me, the people that do it smart or the right way, they put a limitation on what they do with their money, instead of just going out and buying everything. And I guess professional sports, there's many stories out there of professional NBA or professional soccer players or professional American football players that make millions, and still at the end of their career, they go bankrupt. Why? They go out, they buy 4 or 5 cars, they buy everybody a house, they have all their buddies over, and they feel the need to just start paying for everything. And if you go about it that way, yeah, you're going to run out of that money. It doesn't matter how much you make, you're going to run out.
Yeah, those stories are well known, and I always found it interesting that despite the money, a lot of money, and then still find a way to get rid of it, actually, in a sense. So, but would it differ if you are an athlete or not? How you should go about saving money?
No,
Invest?
it doesn't. It doesn't really. I think we have it's a societal problem that we have now, because a lot of parents don't teach their kids anymore that you don't have to buy everything. You know, so I'm old school. Well, I call it old school, but I think it should be new school again. You save for something, and then you can buy it, instead of just going out and buying it and then having a major track record in credit, which you all have to be somewhere, somehow somebody is paying. So it's either you or it's the lender. Somebody is paying the bill, and most of the time it's you. And I think that's a problem now, that parents don't teach their kids anymore that it's okay that you have to save up a little bit before going out and buying it.
Yeah.
You don't have to have that, new TV or new car or new piece of clothes or new shoes. I'll give you an example. Like, I love shoes, but when I was in college, I had a lot of shoes, but those were given to me as part of the basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have the financial situation that I can go out and buy the Jordans that I want. So I have about 25 pairs or 30 pairs of Jordans. But if I wouldn't have the money, I'd cut that down to just having 1 or 2 pairs of shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the rest, they're just sitting in the garage for special occasions. But it doesn't hurt me. But I know there's a lot of people that buy stuff just to show off while they really don't have the financial situation to do it.
Well, you and I had a very different upbringing, but I also was taught this notion of, if you don't have it, you can't spend it. So first save it. And that brings me actually to a topic that, and I think we also have the same perspective on it, which is actually renting versus buying a house.
Okay.
So can you explain what our take on that is, actually? Because I think we're totally on the same page.
Yeah, I think, and it's funny that you talk about our backgrounds, and obviously your parents bought a house, right? And so whenever they pass away, they have something to pass on. And both my parents were working class, and years ago, working class people didn't buy houses. You just didn't. Working class people in Amsterdam, they rented houses. And what happens is you just rent, and you're actually making sure that somebody else is having a really nice life. Mm-hmm. Instead of investing into a house, which, especially in Holland, where there's a lack of housing, there's a lack of room, even in the worst crisis, housing prices still remain flat or slightly increase. Mm-hmm. Or there's a slight dip, like, okay, the price now is going down a little bit, but it's, if you look at the last 4 or 5 years, it's increased almost double digits every year. So if you now have a dip of 4 or 5%, that's nothing.
Yeah, I tell my kids, if you rent something for 30 years, it ain't your property.
It's not.
But if you take a mortgage, yes, you pay 30 years, but after that, it's your property.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So, but these days you also need to bring what they call your own money, or a starting capital. You can't just, get a 100% mortgage. So if you were to advise your kids and my kids and other youngsters, what would you advise them to do to be able to get in the position to actually buy a house and not renting it?
It doesn't matter how much you earn. You can always adjust your spending pattern so you can save. Mm-hmm. Even don't go out and get that coffee to go. And don't go and get that sandwich on the corner at the corner store. Make your own sandwich. Don't order out at night every night. It's just little examples of that. If you go out, limit yourself. Bring cash. Bring $50. Mm-hmm. Then you can't spend anymore. I used to do that because, especially if you have a few drinks in you, how easy is it to keep, credit card or debit card, you keep Bam, bam, another drink. You want a drink? Everybody. You know, there's all kinds of situations in life where you can limit yourself and make sure that you put that cash aside. So, you know, my basketball talents were modest, but at the end, after playing almost 7 years of professional basketball, I had a decent starting capital that when I bought my house, you know, I did all of the renovations, and the initial investment into the house was all paid cash. It was all there. You know, I didn't have to lend on top of the mortgage to do anything else.
Smart. I have a mentee, and she was telling me she's not able to save any money, and she was telling me that with a Starbucks in her hands.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, that brings me to the last question, boss. So we've both been in sales for many years, so we know what it is to have a fixed salary and a bonus scheme. How should people go about dealing with a bonus scheme and the money that's attached to that, from your experience?
So here's, especially if you're in a job structure where you're on a fixed income plus a flexible income, my complete spending, monthly spending, is based on my fixed income part. So my flex income, which I generate by winning deals, that's bonus money. So that's not, I don't need it to pay my mortgage. I don't need it to pay my car. I don't need that to do groceries. That's, you know, if I have a good year, that means we're doing extra vacations. We're buying extra stuff or whatever you want to spend it on. If I don't have a good year, there's, you know, I don't lose any sleep because all my fixed, all my bills that come in every month are paid for by the fixed income part. By doing that, you're setting yourself up to be successful because you can use that extra cash that you then bring in. Let's say I'm on a 50-50 plan now. So if you have a good year, you might make $100K in flex money. Well, that's a whole lot of money, which you could invest in your house, pay off your house quicker. You can buy that new car that you want. You can help people with it. You know, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can invest in bonds, stocks, whatever you want to do. Put it away for a rainy day. But that money is extra. And by looking at the situations like that, you can always make yourself successful because it's extra money. Look at it that way.
Yeah. A bonus is a bonus, right?
Correct.
I think the term is there for a reason.
But as I said at the beginning of the video, you and I both, you know, when we worked at IBM, we were there. Were you still there in 2008 when the financial crisis hit? Yeah. You know, there were plenty of sales walking around real stressed because they had bought that house in Amsterdam of 1.5 or 2 million, which they were paying based on fixed income plus their bonus that they were making year after year after year. Now they weren't hitting their targets. Now that income wasn't as high as it used to be with the bonus, and all of a sudden they couldn't pay that house anymore.
Painful.
Yeah, and I mean, in the end, is it really worth it to lose all that sleep over what happens if I'm not hitting my bonus?
Well, we both know the answer, don't we?
Correct.
Okay.
So for peace of mind, set yourself up for success and just spend the money that you know that is coming in.
Thanks for your time, boss.
Thank you.